Color is certainly something that influences people in their home lives. Many of the choices people make with regard to consumers' goods are based on color. However, I would accuse that in public buildings, people have other preoccupations and are less affected by their surrounding color scheme. The color of an office, for instance, is far less important than a home. Offices are places where people work, and what matters there is that equipment or technology is functioning well, that meetings have been organized, and targets are being met. Employees do not care about whether the office walls are pink or green. Obviously, no one would choose to paint an office black or such a bright color that it distracts people from their work. That is just common sense. If there is a change in decor, staff may react to it initially, but it soon becomes part of the background. Ultimately, people are too involved in what they are doing to be influenced by color. Similarly, hospital patients are unaware of the color around them. Instead, they are concerned about factors such as the qualities of health care they receive and the qualification and experience of their doctors. For a vast dirty hospital or poor nursing may threaten their recoveries, a pastel colors word it will not. What is more, psychologists' ideas about color and its effects on health are not reliable. While some have accused that pastels are better because they calm because people down, others suggest that lively colors are best because they make people happier. This all leads me to the conclusion that although color has a significant role to play in our lives on a personal level, that is where it is influence, and in most public places we are concentrating on others more important matters, and color has little impact on us. In my views, all students would benefit from the creative experience that art can offer, improve confidence and interpersonal skills or lasting qualities that can help students do better throughout their academic lives. Artists, like many creative people, have to work hard to survive on the incomes they receive from selling their products. So artists become popular and can charge a lot of money for their work. While many others never achieve success, I think there are good reasons why this happens. And there is nothing that governments do can or should do about it. Generally, people are willing to pay for something that they admire and would like to own. In the case of art, this may be because they feel something is unique or is exceptionally beautiful or skillful. Whatever the reason, I would accuse that it would be quite unfair for any government to prevent the artist from asking a high price for it. Surely the public has to decide what something is worth, even if it is mean that less admired artists finds it hard to earn a living. In many respects, artists are like business people. Those who can sell a lot of their work develop a reputation and can raise their prices over time. This may seem unfair to others who remain unknown, but if they choose to continue with a career in art, it seems that must accept the situation. In most cases, popular artists have spent years developing their skills, studying their subject and exhibiting their work. Why should the government deny them the earnings they have worked so hard to achieve? Ultimately, people have to be free to spend their money as they wish. If this means that some artists have to make the difficult choice of finding another way to earn a living, no one can alter the fate. After all, not much in life is fair. Some people believe that technological tools such as body scanners and CCTV have significantly enhanced our safety and security. while others feel that they have resulted in the loss of privacy. Do the benefits of these items outweigh their disadvantages? Information technologies has progressed in leaps and bounds over the past few decades. New devices are being designed and upgraded all the time, and it is inevitable that society will want to use them. What is important is how they use. I believe that if they are employed for the right purposes, their benefits outweigh their drawbacks. No one can deny that CCTVs makes many public places safer for people. If youngsters need to travel by trains or underground on their own, for example, their parents feel happier knowing that the public are being monitored on the platforms. This type of surveillance also reduces anxiety of those traveling in the evening and has certainly been welcomed by staff working in shops and cafes at night. Like CCTV scanners are also used in many situations where the public welcome the heightened security that they provide. Flying is the form of travel that makes people most nervous, so body and luggage scanners can help ease this concern. Although it can be time-consuming, most passengers do not mind the additional weight as long as the process is efficient. Having made these points, it is true that every invention receives some criticism, and perhaps this is a good thing. It is perfectly possible that the huge amount of data gathered by CCTV and scanners could be misused by authorities or passed on to other organizations without people knowledge. Such use would amount to an abuse of personal privacy. If this was to happen, I would agree with the view expressed in the task. In the end, it is up to us to ensure that technology is used wisely. Generally, this is what happens, and people who complain are often too impatient or too short-sighted to seize the advantages that it offers. However, that does not mean that we should become complacent about it. Graduates who cannot find work in their chosen field should be advised to do a second degree rather than taking a job that does not interest them. To what extent do you agree with this statement? These days, it can be difficult to get a good job when you leave university. Many more students are studying for a degree, so the job market is very competitive. Some people believe that it's better to take a second degree if you cannot secure suitable employment, but I tend to think it depends on your circumstances. The first consideration is finance. Universities charge high fees for their courses, and in some countries it can cost up to £25,000 to do a first degree. Although some students are fortunate in that their parents can fund their studies, many others have to borrow the money and they repay it when they start working. In my view, it is not a good idea to recommend that these students continue this situation, particularly if they have no real desire to study further. I think we now have to accept that there are not always enough jobs to go around. So the second consideration is that it might be better to be patient. Start at the bottom and work your way up the career ladder. This is what my father did, and it's definitely give him a fuller understanding of his chosen field. On the other hand, a second degree may be natural progression for students who wish to enter a certain profession or to pursue a research-based career. If they can afford the course without getting into debt, it may be advisable for them to carry on with their studies, especially in the current economic climate. Ultimately, the decisions may be a difficult one. However, I feel that those who do not really want to continue studying or cannot afford it should not be encouraged to do so unless you had already plans to do a postgraduate course. It could turn out to be much better if you start working, whatever the status or salary. There are no doubt that human beings have been responsible for loss of wildlife, while we tend to exploit a natural world for our own purposes. Some of our ancestors understood their relationship with other species much better. I would accuse that it is this sense of harmony with nature that we need to recapture. One of the main reasons why certain species of wildlife have become threatened is loss of habitat. As the population of the world has grown, humans have claimed increasingly large areas of land for the construction of homes and cities. An inevitable result has been in removal of plants and trees and the destruction of animal territories. Increasing urban development has in turn led to the global warming, which is another contributing factor. Temperature and rainfall are critical to the survival of wildlife. Global warming has resulted in a shift in weather patterns, result in drought, flooding, and heat wave, all of which have taken their role on the natural world. So what can be done? I believe that the problem has to be tackled on a number of levels. As individuals, we should ensure that we treat the countryside with respect, avoid activities that harm animal lives, and if possible, participate in projects or donate to charities that work to protect the world around us. However, it seems that the real work has to be done on a national and international level. What governments need to do in their own countries is to encourage sustainable building practice, limit urban growth, and reduce human activity, which contribute to global warming, but they also need to sign up to treaties that enable nations to collaborate in the protection of the world's diverse species. After all, we cannot live without our flora and fauna. Many of the threats to plant and animal lives are the direct result of human activity, so it is now time to redress the situation. If we do not do this, we may be the next species to become in danger. Mobile technology has become an integral part of our lives, and the existence of mobile phones, laptops, and iPads has altered the ways many people work. While there are distinct advantages to this, it is important to guard against overuse and possible detrimental effects on health and relationships. One of the biggest benefits of mobile technology is that people no longer have to work in an office. In fact, many businesses now permit their staff to work from home, and so on some days of the week. This is particularly helpful for busy parents. It can reduce stress levels and help people manage their daily lives better. Another benefit for many people and businesses is that work can continue outside the office. Phone call can be made almost anywhere, and documents can be read or written on public transport or in cafes. This is extremely beneficial for people who have long trips to work. Despite the advantage mentioned above, care must be taken for ensures that the convenience of teleworking does not lead to more hours on the job and less time spent doing exercise or being with friends and family. No one would deny that it is wonderful to be able to work from home, but a person who spends too much time on their computer may find that their health suffer in the long run. Similarly, anyone who enjoys the benefits of working on public transport needs to make sure that they consider other people around them. In my cities, they are noticed that warn travelers not to talk loudly and on their phones. In others, there are mobile-free carriages on trend because companies had so many complaints. On the whole, most people profit from the use of mobile technology, and there are obvious advantages to its use. However, we need to keep an eye on how much we rely on this resource, otherwise the advantages will be better for everyone. It is only in the last century that humans have explored space, and to begin with, nations establish their space programs independently. However, the situation has changed over time, and I believe the spirit of cooperation, which is now more common, is likely to continue into the future. Although some competition will remain, one reason why nations work alone on their space technology was the government were not used to international collaboration and did not have the relationships that they do today. In particular, Russia and North America regarded space exploration as a race that they had to win rather than an opportunity to work together. Another reason of that nations, like individuals, are naturally competitive, and space exploration offers an opportunity for countries to take pride in their success and achievements. Louis Russi was about to celebrate Yuri Gagarin's memorable flight into space in 1961, while the U.S. enjoyed the thrilling sight of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon in 1969. Since, the, since that time, the space race has slowed down, and there have been more emphasis on research with robots and shuttles doing the work of manned spacecraft, and there is less need for one nation to try to get ahead of another. Instead, there is collaboration, including the development of the International Space Station, one of the greatest space projects in the history. Having said that, the universe is vast and much remains to be explored. We have yet to land an astronaut on Mars, for example, and new planets are being discovered all the time, while there is still first to be one. It is probable that some national government will remain, such as the Chinese space project in my country, which aim to explore Mars over the next few years. Thus, the pictures in the future looks much. I believe that nations will work together in many areas, but I also fear that a natural rivalries between countries will continue. Rivalry means when people business compete with each other for the same thing. This topic is that a new generation of entrepreneurs believe that privately funded space tourism will be the next exciting development in space exploration. How true do you think this is? How would space tourism affect space exploration as we know it today? I think it is very likely that space travel will become a popular activity in the private sector. There are wealthy people in the world who want to go into space, and there is the desire to take them there. That these people need is the means to achieve their aims. To a certain extent, that means is already available, and some wealthy business people have already paid millions of dollars to travel into space. If they have done it, others will follow. Human beings have a natural tendency to go beyond their limits. It is this desire to push the boundaries that has motivated every explorer in the past. In the same way, space is definitely where business people in the travel industries are setting their size. In fact, new paper says that millionaires like Richard Branson are in the process of doing test flights to the edge of space, so it is only a matter of time before space tourism becomes a reality for the population as a whole. How that will change space exploration is an interesting question, as businesses will be concentrating on making profits and satisfying a general desire for adventure. It seems unlikely that they will have any influence on the work of space explorers. Essentially, the two activities are quite different. Only by doing both would you make any link between them. Having said that, if space tourism was to become popular, it is quite possible that it would raise extra money that could be channeled back into space exploration in the form of enhanced technologies and communication systems. This is this in turn may speed up the process of space exploration. Information technology is changing many aspects of our lives and now dominates our home, leisure, and work activities. To what extent do the benefits of information technologies outweigh the advantages? Information technology has become an integral part of human life, and we are becoming increasingly dependent on it. But while it enhances a certain aspect of our lives, I also think it may be having a detrimental effect on others. One of the biggest drawbacks of information technology is that it can be incredibly time consuming. People who work in international business have to read hundreds of emails every day, and children can spend hours chatting online. Some people would accuse that this time could be better spent. A related criticism is that it leads to unhealthy lifestyle rather than going out and taking regular exercise. For example, some people spend a lot of time sitting at their computers or with their smartphones. In the long term, this lack of activities does not do our body any good. Despite this drawback, we cannot deny that technology has made many aspects of life more pleasurable. We all have instant access to entertainment and social connections are just a click away. Like many people, I use a networking sites which apparently have more than 800 million active users. The type of statistics illustrates just how popular the website is. There is also huge benefits to using technology for study and work. The internet is an invaluable resource for students of all ages, provides that it is used sensibly. Also, some areas of work have moved forward in leaps and bounds due to the huge amount of data that computer can store. Clearly, there are some negative aspects to technology. Having said that, it is the way we use it that cause there. If it is used sensibly and people take regular breaks from the computers, there are only benefits that remain.